Welcome back to World Crisis Radio. Keep up with everything at Tarpley.net. Posted today on Tarpley.net, my essay on Egypt. We'll get to some of the content of this in the second hour. Why was Mubarak toppled? Mubarak was toppled because he was opposing the U.S. plan for a war with Iran. The U.S. plan had been to assemble the Sunni Arab states, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and others, the Emirates and the Gulf, into a united front together with the Israelis under a U.S. nuclear umbrella, and then play them against Iran, Syria, Hezbollah, Hamas, and the radical Shiites across the Middle East. Mubarak was saying no to that recipe for World War III. Therefore, he had to go. The Golden Youth were therefore dupes of an operation that has brought war closer. And the departure of Mubarak determined significantly by a threat to the Suez Canal, which is ongoing. That's seemingly what got him to leave, although we need to get somewhat more on that. It's looking pretty certain that that was at least part of the package. Now, back then, and also keep up on Twitter, Webster G. Tarpley, Webster G. Tarpley, all lowercase, all one word, Webster G. Tarpley, Webster Tarpley. On Twitter, keep up hour to hour on this breaking stuff. We've been going through the program for political strike support. How do you broaden the movement? How do you bring in groups that may not feel that their interests are being defended here? Make sure you defend those interests. How do you bring in outside support? The general rule with these things is if you're not spreading it, you're going to be defeated. If you're not expanding, you're essentially collapsing. There is no steady state in this stuff. So, trade union rights, absolutely. Collective bargaining for everybody, though, not just for the ones who have it, but for the ones who don't have it, and put some oomph into that. Secondly, no cutting, no gutting. It doesn't work. Schwarzenegger cut the budget every year. What happened? He'd come back the following year. Deficit bigger. Burning in Germany, 30 to 32, the classic case. Cut about 20% of the German budget. Now, that's across the whole budget. What these reactionary Republican fanatics in Washington are trying to do, the Ryan Brigade, the Koch Brigade, they're trying to cut 20% out of the non-defense discretionary spending. It's about $500 billion, and the Republican plan is cut at least $100 billion. Even the chief of the fanatics, Boehner, says that that's too much. He's up to $61 billion. Well, that's about 20%. That's Brüning. What happened in Germany when Brüning did those things between 1930 and 1932? Well, he destroyed the economy. His cuts went through. Unemployment went up, up, up. Government revenues went down, down, down. Government expenditures, especially on unemployment and the other wreckage that was being created, went up, up, up. Production went down, down, down. Result, Hitler. And that's the problem. You're now in a very dangerous terrain. We don't seem to have a visible fascist movement right now, but that could change. And in Germany, it went very fast. The Nazis had 12 members of the parliament in the beginning of 1930. And by the end of that year, they had about 110, and they were the second largest party. So they went from basically nondescript status to being a contender for power. It goes very fast. Now, therefore, we can't waste opportunities like the one in Wisconsin. Point number one, trade union rights. Number two, no cuts, no guts. The reason for this is that if you cut government expenditure in a depression, when private sector activity is depressed because of the panic that has occurred, the derivatives panic of 2008, the bankruptcy of the entire banking system, people got hurt very, very badly in their retirement. They're very much afraid of their debt burdens and so forth. If you cut the government activity under those conditions, you're cutting the only economic activity that there is. Therefore, your tax returns go down, your expenditures on the human wreckage generated, those go up, and your deficit is bigger. It doesn't work in its own terms. You say, we're cutting these salaries so that we can balance the budget. You cannot balance the budget. There's nothing you can do, no matter what you think. You can't balance the budget. It will not happen in the physical universe as presently constituted. So forget that, and you'll kill a whole lot of people trying. So desist from the attempt, oh Walker, or you're headed for Nuremberg. That's the fate of the individuals who try this. So trade union rights, no cuts and no cutting and no gutting. Third, jobs for all. Now, There are a lot of unemployed people. There are a lot of underemployed people. The Works Progress Administration of Harry Hopkins, 1933, 1934. The Civil Works CWA administration of Harry Hopkins. 4.25 million jobs created in about 2 months in the horrible winter of 1933, 1934. And was that make work? Well, look at the roads, the water projects, the public buildings, the libraries, the schools, the government buildings, the airports, the entire infrastructure of the United States was immensely supplemented by the activity of the Works Progress Administration, which was the broad umbrella group. And as you know, Harold Ickes had this thing called the Public Works Administration, PWA, which took on the really big engineering challenges, the things that required engineering solutions the world had never seen, like the Hoover Dam, like the Triborough Bridge, and things of this sort. So you've got to express the interest of those people who don't have jobs but would want them. Why can't we have the Works Progress Administration? Does nobody have the ability of Harry Hopkins? Is the United States decadent? Are we finished? Are we washed up? Well, time will tell. You want to be exceptional? Show some exceptionalism right here. So that's the third point. And the fourth point, how are you going to pay for it? Yeah, okay, fine. Wall Street sales tax. 1% tax on all Wall Street turnover. Oh, but they'll leave the state. Yeah, fine. Do it as a federal tax or get other states to do it too. Cuomo, start collecting the Wall Street sales tax. You've got a Wall Street sales tax on the books that you refuse to collect, and you want to gouge working people in the state of New York. Well, no. The main thing you got to put on your banner is Wall Street sales tax. It's a Tobin tax, but don't call it a Tobin tax. Nobody knows who Tobin is. Everybody can understand Wall Street sales tax. The Wall Street sales tax. You pay sales tax. Why don't they pay it? How come those Wall Street fat cats don't pay any sales tax on their derivatives? $1 quadrillion a year worth of turnover in derivatives. Now, of course, if you put on a sales tax, it'll be less, but it will still be a hefty sum, and it will come in handy just now. Now, all of this means you've got to maintain your labor power, your human capital, your mental capital. Your greatest resource is always your workforce. What do the Republicans want to do? Destroy your workforce. Austerity, despair, joblessness, coolie wages. Well, that doesn't sound like the American dream. Oh, but we want an opportunity society. No, you don't. You want to drive down wages and make this a low-wage, sweatshop, coolie labor economy. And it won't work even here, right? You can't compete with China on this basis. You can't compete with India. You can't compete with Vietnam or Thailand or the Philippines or these places. They can always undercut you. There are people in Yemen who will always work for less. The only way to do it is to completely reverse the field. You need a high wage, high value added, high technology, high capital intensity, high energy intensity economy that will produce the products the world needs for the future. Take a look at the German economy. Now, they're in many ways, they're depressed, but they're doing a whole lot better because they have maintained high technology, niche production in certain key critical areas of manufacturing, infrastructure, scientific equipment, medical equipment, and so forth. So Germany is above water because they did not deindustrialize to the degree that the U.S. has done. So a Wall Street sales tax. And naturally, once we've said WPA, PWA under point 3, the things you can build there are tremendous. Again, Harry Hopkins built all those roads, water projects, railroads, public buildings, libraries, and so forth. But you can take this further. You can do your maglev. Oh, the Republicans are going wild. Christie has now been joined by Scott as enemies of fast rail. They hate fast rail. We'll be back in a minute.